If ESN or Amotekun starts bombing and kidnapping students, would Buhari negotiate and pay them? Lady. A lady named Ifa Funsho on Twitter, who is an atheist, posted a tweet asking if Buhari will also treat ESN and Amotekun the way he treats bandits if they start terrorizing Nigeria. I mean, my opinion straight up on this is ESN haven't even done anything, and then they had a whole, raid and military sort of testing, in Olu, I think, where they sent in helicopters, they sent in investigators, armies, all that to go fish at ESN because apparently the people of the community were complaining, saying that they were terrorizing them. Apparently, well, allegedly. So yeah, even without the ESN doing anything, they've literally just, because again with Amotekun, they've not necessarily had backlash from the government or sort of like a barrier from the government for them not to continue their activities. But when it comes to IPOB, it's literally like an attack on them, and so they haven't even done anything. They literally just made a whole security network team just because because the government can't do it, and then they've been successful because they actually successfully drove a lot of Fulani herdsmen outside of that area, of the southeastern area. And then apparently the government is just like, we're gonna put force sending helicopters and all that, but then they can't fix banditry. All right. She tweeted, if Eastern Security Network, or I've already read that. According to her tweet, she's disappointed seeing Buhari's government negotiating and paying killers, bandits, and Boko Haram. And a lot of people reacted on Twitter. And the first person here says, at Adesanya, saying he might intend to pay you, but you see, there are some Olori Buruku Aleti. Okay, there are Olori Buruku Baba politicians that will say don't pay them anything. We know them and how to get them. Another person says, or Undubisi says, Yorubas have been most educated and exposed, wouldn't go into such, more so by their cowardly nature. They wouldn't delve into such. They excel in G world. Hush puppy. Okay, this is a bit off. Okay, you didn't have to bring Hush puppy into this. No one asked. Someone says, don't mind this psychologically damaged idiot shouting more Nigeria. Absolutely. If anything, as much as we question ourselves and tribalism, do we really want to be one? If the leadership at the top is actually putting in strategies, putting in policies that will grow, a sort of interrelation where we are actually one in terms of our businesses, where there's never really a power or a tribal play where you're trying to represent every tribe. If they putting policies for like equally in each region, there's education, there's healthcare, infrastructure is up and running in every part of the country. So again, we will not even have any conversation about tribes. And so again, because there's disparities in the way the government treats certain tribes, obviously favoring the Fulani and the Hausa, and of course with the Biafrans, going back to the Biafran war, they just have locked up and they never really gave, I don't know the right word to use, they never really gave 2 cents about the Nigerian government since literally 7 years or even how many years after Nigeria's independence. So when it comes to the Biafrans and and the country, they've had their own, because again, the Biafrans just were not up for it and they were very vocal about it, and so that's how it is. And the Yorubas, they've never really gotten any sort of attack on. You see, it's just when the government itself and the leadership, people in leadership, are not promoting oneness. They aren't. They are promoting oneness in terms of sharing money amongst themselves, absolutely, but in terms of making policy that will make us, even as a country, we shouldn't be having conversations about tribes. Like, what is that? And we understand that we're different, and we should go anywhere in Nigeria, have a holiday anywhere in Nigeria, and go back to where we came from. We can go and relocate to another side of Nigeria. Why? Because we know it is going to be exactly the same. It is. If you come to the UK now, specifically England, everywhere you go, it is the same. The healthcare, the shops, the roads, traffic, everything is the same. So no matter where you go, there's never really a I mean, it's obviously not as diverse as Nigeria, obviously, but there's never really it's diverse in terms of people coming in, but there's never really a debate on, it's just weird. I mean, at this point, comparing the UK to Nigeria in terms of infrastructure is a bit extreme because Nigeria does not relate in any way, shape, or form. But still, so again, when the country is not promoting, because again, the two parties are to blame: the people, us ourselves, and our mentalities, and how we have to change that, as well as the government's, ruling and leadership. If the leadership is not brewing or creating oneness and innovation amongst each other, because we emphasize so much on our tribes, and I guess maybe it's a sign that, what, we really want to stick to our own and really don't want to be together. That's not a bad thing as well. But again, if I think that the government would have been a, huge influence in bringing us all together if they just treated us all equally by doing the right thing. So when bad things happen, we don't talk about our tribes. We talk about the crime itself and the punishments for that. When things happen, we don't, or when good things happen, as a Nigerian, we don't have to then root it down to, are you Yoruba, Igbo, or Hausa, or Urobo, or whatever, or Benin. So it's like identity is such a huge thing, and people in Nigeria want to stick to that. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but again, if we do not respect ourselves to treat ourselves, in a way where we respect each other, we can't be surprised when the government will use our tribalistic, ways against us, because we don't like each other. So they would literally, it's so easy for the government to distract us by putting in divisive tactics. Because when it comes to tribalism and our tribes, Nigerians can go on and on and on about it, getting distracted from the real issue at hand. And it works every single time. They've been doing it for so many years. We're talking about these people. We're talking about these politicians that have been there that are even older than the country itself. So when it comes to the system of oppression, from us being in the military regime to, democracy, the 1999 constitution has amended, all that, they know what it's like because they know their people. They know how to control their own people because they understand our habits. So it is very true when people say that our government is a reflection of us. Because when we don't treat each other on a micro level, of course, with regulations enforced strictly, certain things wouldn't happen. But then we as a people, we also need to have some certain level of control where we have a common value system where it's very obvious that we stick together. So yeah, with the ESN, Amotekun, and the bandits, like it's like talking about three different countries in one country. We're so divided. And it shows in the government. It really does show that the government is always favoring or not applying the law as it should on bandits. Because again, the fact is, even ASN has not even done anything wrong. They're already taking out, or doing, investigative things. And it's sad. But it's the Nigeria that we live in. And I think that we have to demand for the change that we do want to see. That would also require us asking ourselves deep-rooted questions as to why our mentality is what it is today. Our mentality did not just jump out of nowhere. It has been years and years mixed in with years of oppression, inferiority complex, going through, our tribalism wars, all refined into what it is today, and how our boundaries have been broken as a people, and we've been so disrespected that from slavery, from colonialism, we've been so disrespected, and boundaries have been so crossed so much that even when we are independent, our minds are not free. And so when our own people are oppressing us as well, we all need psychological checks. Honestly, let's not even get into doing analysis. We all need psychological checks. Everyone needs therapy. That doesn't mean that you're mad. It just means that you have to understand your cycles and what you want to break. And as a country, there are so many things that we need to break, especially if we want a Nigeria that is suitable for our generations to come. Put what you think about this in the comment section below. Do not forget to like and subscribe.